Good evening. I'm Jody Penland, the Assistant Superintendent for Student Services here in Lawrence School District 55. I'll serve as moderator for tonight's Town Hall meeting. We would like to welcome all of you who are joining us live tonight. If you would like to participate via chat, please submit your questions by email at community_talk@lawrence55.org or use the chat box in the YouTube channel. The purpose of our meeting is to discuss the growth that we are experiencing and expecting over the next few years here in Lawrence County. We have gathered a few panelists who will share information about the growth in our community and how we anticipate this growth to affect our school systems. Dr. Thomas, would you like to offer your words of welcome?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Penland. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome everyone to our Town Hall meeting. Along with Lawrence County School District 55 Board of Trustees, I extend appreciation to all of our panelists, our online participants, and those who completed the survey and sent in questions. We're excited and thankful for your input, and this information will definitely be used as the district moves forward and makes critical decisions. We greatly appreciate your input, participation, and dedication to Lawrence County School District 55. And I'm just so excited about this opportunity to be able to collaborate with all of the panelists who are here this evening. And again, I just welcome everyone to our Town Hall meeting.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. I will now introduce our panelists. We have with us tonight Mr. Brown Patterson, Chairman of the Lawrence County Council. Mr. Jonathan Coleman, President and CEO of the Lawrence County Development Corporation. Mr. Josh Black, Vice President for Student Affairs and Communications for Piedmont Technical College. Dr. Amika Thomas, our Superintendent here in Lawrence County School District 55. And Mr. Nathan Sin, the Mayor for the City of Lawrence, was going to join us but had another commitment and sends his regrets. As we get started, I would like to give everyone a brief overview of our school district. Lawrence County School District 55 has 9 schools, including 1 comprehensive high school, 2 middle schools, 2 kindergarten through 8th grade schools, and 4 elementary schools. The district also sponsors the Lawrence District 55 Preparatory Academy, an at-risk program for middle and high school students housed at the Sanders Center. Lawrence School District 55 serves approximately 5,500 students, and the district employs just under 900 total staff, with half of those being certified and the other half are support staff. Based on our current local data relating to students eligible for subsidized meals, the district has an overall poverty rating of 78.9%, with schools ranging from 92.3% to 66.5% of students qualifying in poverty. The demographic breakdown for our district is 53% white, 29% African American, 14% Hispanic, and 4% other races. A total of 828 students, which is 14% of all district students, are enrolled in special education programs. Now, we have a few prepared questions for our panelists. Please remember, if you would like to post additional questions, we will try to get them in tonight or in a future town hall meeting. You may also, just a reminder, you may do so by going to community_talk@Lawrence School District 55 via email, or put your comments in on the chat. We'll start with you, Mr. Patterson. Will you please give us an update from Lawrence County Council? Where is the county currently with approved rooftops, and what is the anticipated growth over the next few years? Where are the main areas of growth regionally and that have been approved and are proposed?
Thank you, Dr. Penland. First, I'd like to thank you and Dr. Thomas for the invitation to join this evening and collaborate with the other panelists here and discuss the growth going on in the county. From a county aspect, the approved rooftops right now in the District 55 area is a little over 1,200 rooftops. We do have some growth outside of that and on up into the Fountain Inn area and in the Clinton area as well, but since we're focusing tonight on 55, I brought the number just for your area. Looking at those rooftops, the majority of that's in Gray Court for outside of the city limits. The mayor wasn't able to join us this evening, but he did relay to me some of their numbers inside the city of Lawrence. They've approved 800 homes at the moment. They have 700 that are proposed that have not been before their Planning and Zoning Commission. That being said, as far as county proposed, we're looking at about 200 more at the moment that have submitted letters of intent. I'm sure that number will continue to grow as we continue to see folks expand into Lawrence County. As a county council standpoint, we're excited about the growth. You know, the census came out, census data came out in the last couple of months, and as county-wide, we did see a slight increase. Some areas grew more than others. The majority of that growth was in the Fountain Inn, Graycourt area in the northern area of the county, and some areas, unfortunately, in the county lost population. But overall, Lawrence County is moving in a slight positive direction, and that was exciting from our level to see. But your question about the regionally based growth is definitely in the northern end of the county. Fountain Inn, right outside the Fountain Inn city limits, and in the city limits of Fountain Inn is where we're seeing the majority of our growth, and that trickles on down to Graycourt, and then Lawrence City itself with the proposed rooftops is a great growth area. And I believe the mayor, if he were here, he would tell you that he was excited about that growth, but we all want to work together with the school districts and our other partners to plan so that when they physically build, because very few have actually broken ground in the city. The mayor told me today that none of the 800 that have been proposed have even broken ground yet. As far as the county goes, we're in that 150 range of homes that have actually broken ground out of 1,200. So as far as being surprised tomorrow with new residents, that's not going to happen. So we are happy to have time to plan and work together to do so.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. So how is the county preparing for the additional growth in these areas? Discuss traffic flow, personnel that you may have brought on staff to kind of help with this planning and those types of things.
Sure. Well, of course, while y'all are planning for schools and students, we're planning for emergency services, roads, bridges, so on and so forth. We've definitely looked at the roads. That's always a big concern of a lot of citizens, working more with the CTC and the DOT on the state roads, and then as well the county now employs their own paving crew. So when it comes to county roads, such as the one right beside Graycourt Owens, we're able to tackle those and repair those and widen those on our own without relying on a contractor or the state DOT to assist us with that. So that's a positive we've seen in the last 18 months, is initiating our own road paving crew to address county roads. When it comes to personnel, we are in the process of hiring a planner. I believe their start date's actually January 1, so they will be not only in what the county needs, but the future growth of this county, and they'll be working closely, I'm sure, with Dr. Thomas and yourself to help do some of those plans. We have had the discussions with emergency services. That's where we'll also see a drain on infrastructure, is more police, EMS, fire, so on and so forth, and they're all working on plans of what it looks like as we stair-step growth. When we need to add the certain number of personnel, they have their numbers and are working with the budgets to be able to add personnel and equipment as we slowly grow. Because that's the big piece of the puzzle. We're not going to wake up in the morning and there's going to be 2,000 new houses. And we're fortunate for that, because if that were the case, we would probably be in trouble. But since this is it takes a little time to build a house, especially right now, if anybody's tried to or doing renovations, everything's slowed down. So it has given us a great opportunity to plan ahead and be prepared and ready for these changes that are coming.
Great. Thank you. Mr. Coleman, will you please give us an update from the Lawrence County Development Corporation and the growth that we're seeing in the county, too?
Thank you, Dr. Penland. Appreciate being here, and appreciate Dr. Thomas for having us. From the Lawrence County Development Corporation, we're a partner with Piedmont Tech, Lawrence District 55, and Lawrence County Council, obviously in the city of Lawrence, the city of Clinton, and then all of our partner utilities in the county. And the growth that we see is, not to beat the dead horse, but our primary responsibility is recruit new industry to the county, and then prepare our county to be able to provide a talent pipeline for those industries and be ready for those folks. We have a lot of activity in that area. This is the most active year we've seen of new prospects in the last 5 years, as far as just overall activity of new projects that are coming through. Our county is positioned well with a lot of the other counties in the upstate especially our neighbors to the north in Greenville and Spartanburg, getting full. We're in a good spot just south of those with interstate access to the port, and then obviously easy interstate access to I-85 too. So, it's going to continue to grow. We're going to have to keep developing industrial sites and parks to keep up with the demand for those industries that are looking. But we're lucky that we have space to do that. But with that comes population growth, comes demand in the schools, and it all, it's like a puzzle. It all goes together. So, again, appreciate being here tonight and talking about some of these things.
Okay. Thank you. All right, Dr. Thomas, will you please give us an update of what the school district is doing to review and look at where we are now and how the district needs to position itself for growth?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Penland. I would first like to start off by just saying that the district's mission statement is empowering and inspiring all to be educated and informed. And this mission statement, along with our vision statement, as well as what's best for all students, is the foundations for all decisions that we make in the district. We are currently in the process of having a district-wide facility needs assessment completed. We're very excited about this process. This is something that we've been discussing that was a need, and we're moving forward with making sure that we get all of the information that we need as far as our facilities. So this is an overall analysis of the physical environment to discover, appraise, and approve facilities over the next 10 to 15 years. So we'll get some good information from this process that we'll be able to share and also request input from stakeholders as well once we receive the information. This process includes collecting and analyzing data such as enrollment, demographics, and physical conditions of the schools, facility operations, and local economic development trends. Part of this process is looking at the demographic forecasting. And so this is looking at the demographic trends that will impact the different attendance zones. It also involves looking at both current and historical economic data for our community, as well as our existing academic spaces in our schools, in our facilities. It will look at the school's capacity. It will also look at the school's current enrollment at each location and be able to give us some information as far as the impact on each individual school. So again, we're very excited to be able to have this information as we continue to move forward and looking at different things and listening to the potential growth in the area. I think this will be very beneficial. School facility utilization study is also part of this. And within this process, this will look at the size of each space, as well as looking at how we're utilizing the current space that we have and provide some recommendations and some suggestions as it relates to that. Again, enrollment is a big thing, and looking at the enrollment trends as well is going to be a big component of that. So once we get all of the trend data and looking at the growth in the area, we'll be able to use that information, again, to provide that information to the community and to the stakeholders. This process will also look at the physical condition of the schools, of the facilities, and this evaluation includes an assessment of the quality of life, safety systems such as the fire systems, also building systems such as mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. It also looks at safety and security measures, looks at the roofs. We've also had a roofing study done as well to give us some additional information regarding the current status of where we are with all of our roofs in our district, with the cost analysis as well. This study, as far as the physical condition assessment, will also look at the exterior walls, our technology, our furnishings and equipment. It will also look at the school's site conditions and the quality of the property. So within all of this, we will be able to get, as I mentioned before, just some valuable information on all of our facilities in the district. And so that will include all of our schools that Dr. Penland mentioned earlier, as well as our Pleasant View Center as well in Gray Court. So that also will be included in the study, and we'll get some information about just kind of the condition and status of that facility as well. So we're very excited about this process and looking forward to the valuable information that we will receive, and then also getting some additional input and suggestions as well through that process.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. I do want to go back to you, Mr. Coleman. A follow-up question. You mentioned industrial growth. Can you tell us more about the needs for our businesses and industries and the needs that they express to you when looking for a qualified workforce?
Well, one of the things that we've run into in the past year or so are just sheer numbers. But we're solving some of that with population growth, but that brings other issues in. Most of the skills needed are welding, mechatronics, machine tool technology, CNC machining, and then just an overall attitude to come work and be able to contribute to the overall profitability and the effectiveness of a facility. I don't think that's just industrial needs though. I think you guys probably see it at the school district. I think the county sees it, Piedmont Tech sees it. Everybody that is hiring anybody right now sees a need for a trained workforce or just a person. I mean, just the sheer number of people. So, I think one of the things we could work toward in District 55 or a county-wide collaborative initiative with District 56 would be a new career and technology center to bring some of these things that we currently do not have in District 55 or 56, and bring those classes available to our students. One of the things I also think it'll do will help ease some of the constraints on the high school. We've toured several facilities in the state that have similar district populations or county populations to ours as far as students are concerned. They've got about 1,000 students a day in that facility. You take 800 to 1,000 students out of the high school, it opens up space for other stuff, and then you can concentrate more on the facility plan for the elementary schools and the middle school maybe, rather than having to deal with the high school if we could get this facility off the ground. So there's a lot of opportunity there, but in our industrial growth has put stress on the labor market, but it's just not in industries, it's everywhere. But what the industrial growth has done has put stress on the wages, and I think everybody has seen our wage growth grow in the county, and it's just all the other positions that are available within the county that aren't in industry are going to have to keep up with that wage growth as well. So,
thank you. All right, Mr. Black, your turn. Will you share what Piedmont Tech is currently doing to support these industry needs? What supports does Piedmont Tech already provide, and how can we continue to partner in the future?
Well, Dr. Penland, workforce development is really what we do at Piedmont Technical College. Just as kind of a general overview about what the college is about, we offer more than 80 academic programs in exactly the kind of programs that John Coleman was just talking about. And about 20 of those are offered right here fully in Lawrence County, either at the Center for Advanced Manufacturing up by Walmart Distribution or at the Higher Ed Center behind the hospital. And John mentioned welding, mechatronics, machine tool. All of those are offered right here in county. I'd also mention that we offer nursing, we offer emergency medical technician, and on the non-credit side of the house, we also offer things like commercial truck driving licenses. We offer SCMC, which is a South Carolina manufacturing certification. So all these things are directly related to the needs of employers in the region. That's really just kind of what we do at the college. To give you kind of an idea about the scale and the scope of what I'm talking about, in the last full academic year, we served 853 students on the credit side of the house and 439 on the non-credit side of the house. Now, that seems like a pretty big number, but I think John would say to you, and probably Brown would too, that's still not meeting the need right here in Lawrence County for what employees are asking for to come to work. And so what we really need to see happen is more people get into school and get trained. So one thing that the college has done, and the state recognizes that this is a problem too, because if you've been following the news, you probably saw Government Master's announcement a couple of weeks ago about his workforce scholarship for the future. The college has taken that opportunity for the spring and the summer to make college tuition free. So there's really no better time to come and get some of that training that we all know in this room tonight. Our workforce needs and our companies need in the community. So to talk about the partnerships, we also have a very healthy partnership with both Lawrence District 55 and District 56. We do a lot of dual enrollment with you guys at the school district. A lot of that is out at the CAM. We do dual enrollment in the exact programs that John was talking about: welding, mechatronics, machine tool. You all helped us a couple of years ago set up an HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning program out there. We're also launching an EMT program with District 55 in the spring. And I'm going to second the emotion there, John, about the Career and Technology Center, because that's really kind of the missing piece in Lawrence County. If you look around just our service region, we're in 7 counties, and if you extend that out to like Greenville and Spartanburg, what you see in most of those counties is you see a dedicated career and technology education center. And the benefit to that is that right now what's happening in 55 and 56 is you guys do a very good job at the individual high schools having some of these CAPE programs in place, but we're missing as a county in Lawrence the ability to bring all of those students together in a central location from both districts. So students from 55 are missing opportunities that are available in 56 and vice versa. And really what John was talking about there would help solve some of that and would create some synergies within the county that would help us increase the workforce pipeline for the whole community. And that would also create some opportunities for additional synergies with us at Piedmont Technical College to offer some additional dual enrollment so that students could be engaged in things like getting credentials before they graduate from high school, or they could take directly to work. That they could get into some youth apprenticeship programs that would get them right in with the companies that they need to be employed with. So it would really create all kinds of opportunities that would benefit the community.
Thank you. Whenever we start talking about growth and start talking about a possibility of a new career center, it always comes up with where the funding is going to come from. So, Mr. Patterson, Mr. Coleman, do y'all have any ideas? And when funding is needed for expansion or for new builds, what are areas of funding that the district could go after and possibly be eligible for?
Start, you want me to start?
Go ahead.
Well, I think going after federal dollars and state dollars are probably going to be the best opportunity to push this project forward in the near future. When it comes to county funds, I mean, your budget in 55 is almost twice what ours is already, so those monies are strapped, and that helps us, maintain the EMS, fire, 911. That's going to be the big push, not only for the students in the schools, but all the residents in the county as we get this growth. But when it comes to this CAPE Center, I think that is a big endeavor that a lot of people can get behind and support. Right now with the FELO funds, and John can go more in depth on those if he wants to, depending on which industrial park a company lands in, anywhere from 40 to 60% of the fee they pay in lieu of taxes goes to the school district. Maybe seeing about allocating some of those funds directly for a CAPE Center, knowing that that's going to increase their pipeline. Maybe we need to restructure in that direction to help fund that facility, at least the building of it. But I think there's plenty of money out there, especially right now with the infrastructure bills and things going on, that looking at some federal grants as well as some state grants would be a good option, I think, to look at off the get-go.
Yeah, and I would add to that, especially for a CAPE Center, and partnering with Piedmont Technical College with that, and we're working now there's a lot of money coming from the federal government and the state government for different things. And Piedmont Tech being a state agency, the more we can partner with them, it opens doors for a lot more funding. And I'll also add, to echo what Brown said, the county's millage rate, it is what it is. And nobody wants to pay any more taxes than I do. But I just saw an article this week where Lawrence County has one of the lowest tax burdens in the state of South Carolina. And there comes a time when you have to do what you got to do to provide to our future generation what they need. And if that's what District 55 needs to do, or it needs to be voted on by a referendum of people here, it comes, again, it's our future. Do we need to just ignore it, or do we need to take care of our kids and help them and provide them with an opportunity that, as Josh mentioned earlier, that every county around us has? It's going to be a combination of, local bond referendum money or state and federal money. There's not one magic pot out there that's going to solve everything. But, I think there comes a point where there needs to be some community pride, and people need to take pride in what our community looks like and what we have, what we don't have compared to our neighbors, and try to emulate, or if not do better than what everybody around us is doing.
I'll also say too, on the state side, I don't remember the timeline, but the state legislature took your ability away to issue RFPs, which is how Greenville built all their schools. They issued permanent purchase bonds. I think maybe soliciting to the state legislature to readdress that issue and allowing school districts to use that funding mechanism would alleviate a lot of pressure and help as well.
Thank you. So in some of our discussion, we have talked about and kind of gone through our kind of planned statements. I will now refer us back to, we had a survey open for the past week, and we'll go into some of those survey questions that people posed online. Several of these questions did hover around school zones. Would those school zones be changed? Would we need to be redistricting? How do we restore and renovate the current buildings that we have? And how do we plan for growth? So, Dr. Thomas, do you want to go back and reiterate some of the plans that we will utilize to address those areas?
Okay, sure. As I said earlier, a lot of the information that we will receive that will give us just kind of a navigation system really is looking at the information that we receive from the facility needs assessment. I think with that, we'll have a wealth of knowledge to be able to share with the community and with the stakeholders to get their input on some of their thoughts and for them to continue to give us some feedback and suggestions. So I'm very excited and looking forward to the opportunity of looking at our needs assessment and our summary to get that information and to get the recommendations that we will get from that, as well as suggestions that will be provided through this process. So once we receive that information, we will share that with the public, with stakeholders, and from there, I think we'll just continue to have that collaboration and communication and transparency to really look at that data and to make some decisions based on the information that we have.
Thank you. I'll give this one to you, Mr. Coleman. What opportunities for employment will be available for high school students and their families in the foreseeable future? You've mentioned mechatronics, you mentioned welding, in those areas. Do you see anything different in the horizon that we may need to be also prepared for?
You name it. I mean, there really, and I say that trying to be funny, but it really is wide open right now, and it's hard to tell, what's going to happen in the future. But Lawrence County is 54% of our employment is in manufacturing. So, for us, I always hear people complain about, well, there's nothing here for our young people. Well, if we want our young people to stay here and continue to live here as they graduate from high school and then Piedmont Tech, we need to prepare them for that industry. And that's not necessarily, a machinist or a welder or whatever. There's finance people, there's IT people, there's administrative people, there's management people, there's HR people in a manufacturing industry. There's just lots of opportunities available. A lot of our manufacturers now, Josh mentioned healthcare earlier, a lot of them have nurses on site or part-time in a partnership with Prisma to have a nurse practitioner on site. So there's a lot. I mean, you name it, there's a lot of opportunities there. From white collar, executive type jobs, all the way down to the technical, very skilled, high tech CNC machining IT folks. I think if you did a Indeed job search right now and just put in Lawrence, South Carolina, you would find, I don't know how many thousand job openings, but you would find just a huge variety of anything. And that's what's drawing this population growth. Job growth brings in population. And then population brings in the commercial growth, which everybody likes because there's more places to shop and eat. But the job growth comes first, then the people come, and then the other stuff comes after it. So.
Thank you for leading me right into the next question. So as we do see an increase in possible rooftops, Mr. Patterson, if you will address, when do we hope to see a change in our businesses and kind of offerings for our communities?
Sure. Well, I think Mr. Coleman hit the nail on the head. Is this one leads to another? I don't have that magic crystal ball to tell you when, but I can tell you that everybody that has a commercial business is in it to make money, and most of them are very successful, and they have a algorithm that will tell them how many rooftops they need, what age groups they need, and so on and so forth within certain areas of their store or restaurant, and they abide by that. One of the big things right now, we lost Bilo when they merged with Food Line. We lost a grocery store on that side of town. We've had multiple chains come to look at that location, and the response we get is there's not enough rooftops. And they have a magic number, and until we hit that magic number, there won't be a grocery store there. It doesn't matter what we do, because once again, they're in business of making money, and they're not going to come here to lose money. So that is, if there's one positive of all the rooftops coming, that would be one, is that it will increase not only the businesses coming and jobs, but it will increase the commercial traffic, more stores, more restaurants. Some people want it, some people don't, but I think we can all agree that there are areas in this county that are missing commercial businesses, and that would definitely help with those. As far as timeline, I wish I had that magic ball, Dr. Finley.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Black, let's throw one toward you. So, what does the business community need for our graduating high school students to know and be able to do in order to meet the growth and changes in our society and also in our industry?
That's a big question, Dr. Finley. I think it varies widely depending on what the occupation is. And John, you can jump in here anytime and help me with this one. But what we do hear over and over from the business community, pretty much no matter what the industry sector is students really need workforce readiness skills and soft skills. And really that comes down to students need to show up on time. They need to turn off their cell phones. Just basic employability skills are really kind of the order of the day in most of the industries here in Lawrence County and really all over the country and the region. After that, they need to be trained in, the occupation that they're going into. John, what
I would just add on to that. This seems so simple, but one of the, and I'm not going to name the industry, but one of the largest issues they have is employees showing up without their ID. And when they show up without their ID, somebody that is ranked higher than them that is working in the plant has to come let them in And also that idea is how they get paid and clock in and clock out. And, it's just simple responsibility of the ID. I don't know what the rules are at the high school now. I know when I was at Lawrence High School, and all of us went to Lawrence High School, which I think is one of the coolest things about this round table is we all went to Lawrence High School. But when I was at high school, you had to wear your ID. I took that thing everywhere I had to go. I remember Coach George Ward asking where your ID was. So, anyway, those are the little things that, just teaching responsibility. And I know it's just a long time ago when I was in high school, but you couldn't take your cell phone into school when I was at school. I mean, we still had cell phones, but it wasn't, those kinds of things, you just wonder if kids aren't going to like it, but it's just trying to get to that soft skill element that Josh was talking about, people playing with their cell phone, leaving their ID, showing up on time, that kind of thing, just teaching overall responsibility. I don't know how you can't teach it, but it's just little rules that you implement that help them through the 4 years at Lawrence High School.
Thank you. And I will say that, we've recognized that was definitely an area of need. And so we have looked at opportunities to be able to even start younger with helping to develop or try to develop some of those skills and those soft skills to help with those things as far as employability. We do have some of our middle schools now who are also doing the IDs to try to start getting them used to that before high school, because what we're realizing is we can't wait until high school in order to start teaching those skills. So we're trying to teach those skills earlier than before.
And I know that Dr. Faulkner will quote your statement about the IDs, so she will use that as a definite jumping board from her. But I do want to go back to Brown for a second. We've talked a lot about the advantages to growth, but talk a little bit about the disadvantages that families may anticipate to housing growth, and what are some additional, advantages to it too.
Sure. So disadvantages, something we all hate is traffic. More people means more traffic. 50 years ago, some households only had one car. Well, now they might have 4 or 5, depending on how many children they have. So you're definitely going to see more traffic, which is why we try to address the road issues, because more cars on the road, the quicker the road deteriorate. That's definitely going to probably be the largest disadvantage is the people. But once again, the advantage is the commercial side. But what I want people to remember is don't forget about the little guys. I grew up in family-owned business. I try my best to support family-owned businesses. If we get fancy coffee shop in town, don't forget about the vestibule in Clinton and the coffee roast in Lawrence. I shop at L&L Office Supply. I bought an office supply outside of there, and I don't know when, because we have local small businesses that are here to help the community. And more rooftops and more people could bring them more business as well. You don't have to run to the big box store to go get what you need, and I hope that people will remember that we have those. I'd rather go to, as soon as it's open, the Tailored Oak on the square in Lawrence than I would a chain restaurant should one come to town. It could be a disadvantage, and a lot of small businesses see growth as a disadvantage because of the commercial following that it brings. But I think we could turn that here in Lawrence into a positive, and I think the mayor, if he were here, he would definitely elaborate on that and all the growth that we've seen in the city of Lawrence in the past couple years, as well as the city of Clinton. They've had some great announcements lately and have some really good stuff coming down the pipe too for their downtown. 112 Musgrove's coming back alive. The D Triple Building's becoming going to be a gathering spot. So I think that we're seeing a lot of local folks buy into the community, and that's going to be a big push as we see growth of more people. We need to continue to encourage the small town atmosphere that Lawrence and Clinton are so well known for.
And I would add to that if I can. Brown mentioned big box stores. I think the day of big box stores coming in and Lawrence or Clinton or our whole county becoming a strip center universe is over with. Those guys have all got into the .com area, and I really hope a lot of this population growth is going to just jolt our small businesses in this community, and I think it's going to bring in new small businesses, but it's not going to bring in, the big box folks that everybody fears. He mentioned the tailored oak coffee shops. It just provides more opportunities for more of those. But I think the big box strip centers are a thing of the past, and I think our small businesses will really benefit from a lot of this growth we're going to see.
Thank you. We talked about jobs and kind of the workforce earlier. So as new jobs are created, how do it's hard for us, even in our district now, to fill those positions. Do you foresee anything changing about how, the workforce labor group will kind of increase? If we don't get houses, with the industries that we have, what's the population that are driving in to work at Lawrence versus the population of Lawrence driving out to work somewhere else?
Well, I think one of the things that's really going to help the district is the housing growth. Because one of the things, I don't know if y'all, you talk to your folks that are leaving, but, they're probably just taking a job closer to home. And you do a simple real estate search of Lawrence, and there's just not a lot of housing opportunities. So if you got a teacher, a young teacher that's graduating or has been out a couple of years, we don't have the townhomes or the apartments available for those folks to live in. And then, say, I'll just pick on Greenville. Greenville has an opening. That's where they have to go get that housing option. They're going to just take the job as soon as it becomes available close to home. So that's one of the things I hope a lot of this housing growth helps. As far as, small businesses and other folks being able to find people, unfortunately it's just simple economics, and what's happened is wages have gone up, and the cost of everything's gone up, and you can't just pay, but you got to be competitive with the next guy. And what we see when we talk to a lot of our industries that are having hiring troubles, they're way below what they're, I don't want to say competitors, but their neighbors are paying for comparable positions. And I think if you're having trouble in any industry, whether it be restaurants, schools, government, colleges, whatever it is, if you look around you and you're not at least competitive, then you're gonna struggle. So.
And I'll piggyback on that. One of the things the county did was a compensation study. I think we recognized that we were behind that curve that was being driven up, and we wanted to be more on par, not only to attract good talent, but to retain the great employees that we already had on staff. And I'll just use our emergency management services as an example. For memorable history, there's always been an opening. Sometimes more than others. There's been times where we've been 2 trucks down, and just there's nothing we could do to fill those positions. And once we got where we needed to be and we were supposed to be, for the first time in anybody can remember, we're fully staffed at EMS, which is a great thing to have done. But the main reason is we're paying what we should be paying is a good living wage to great employees. So I think that definitely helped the county, and I'd encourage anybody, to evaluate whether they have 5 employees or 800 employees. It's something that needs to be done periodically to keep up with the times.
And one thing I'd add too is it's not always just pay, especially coming out of COVID. Work environment is key too. You want to work somewhere where you feel appreciated. You're not just a number, and they work with you and you're flexible. Especially, y'all in schools, sometimes, especially last year, you had to say, all right, we don't have school for a week. Industries weren't used to that.
Right.
And the ones that have been able to adapt and gotten used to, we're going to have 3 or 4 people out today, they can't help it. And work with their employees in our preferred place to work are, again, it's not one of those things. It's not just dollars. It's being somewhere where you feel appreciated and it's an overall just great environment to be.
Thank you. I do want to follow up with one thing that you mentioned. Brown, do you know of any rental property, and this is one of the questions online, it says, is there going to be any rental property in safe and clean areas that aren't income controlled? Do you know of any of that that's planned?
I know it's more up in the Fountain Inn area than it is Gray Quarter 55 area, but there are some townhomes planned up that way. That'll most likely be some rental properties. But at the moment, all the housing industry and housing growth is driven by private investment. Lawrence County isn't in the government housing business, nor do we care to be, for that matter. I won't speak for the city. I know you usually see more of that type of setup in metropolis. Lawrence is a booming metropolis, but you see more of that in the city. So as far as the county goes and what I deal with on the county level, we don't get in the minutia of that level. I hope that we'll see some of that, but once again, it's all privately driven, and that's what it'll take is a change in that. It's another private investor coming in and upping the ante for those that are here now to change how things are.
Right. Okay. Thank you. A couple other comments I wanted to just kind of put out there that did come through online. Somebody mentioned that they wanted a tech school like the one in Greenwood to ensure workforce-ready people for those not wanting to attend college. Another one was combine Sanders and Lawrence Middle, build facilities that meet ADA requirements and land that allows growth, not landlocked. Also, it can be able to provide more consolidated technical arts, Montessori options, STEAM, better sports facilities. Somebody else put a new high school. And also, somebody posted that they wanted more festival-type events in the community to bring in tourism dollars. So that's going to pretty much close out those questions that we received prior to the meeting, and we have not had any posted online. So I will go back to Dr. Thomas, and what now can our community expect as our next steps from the district and for future meetings?
Okay, thank you. We're definitely looking forward to having more opportunities like this to be able to gather information, gain information, collaborate together, and work together. So I would like to have additional town hall meetings looking at possibly in February and possibly another one in May. So we will continue to work on the logistics of that. And definitely want to encourage the community and the stakeholders to continue to provide input and suggestions and feedback. We have our community_talk@lawrence55.org email address that will remain open for anyone who would like to continue to provide some information, some questions, any feedback and suggestions. We're always open to receiving additional information. Also, once our needs assessment is complete, we should have a wealth of knowledge to be able to make some informed decisions and to share that information with the community and with stakeholders. And again, once that information is available, then there's specific information available for people to actually provide specific comments to. So I'm very excited about that and what that will mean for our district and our community. And again, I just want to encourage again for the community and stakeholders to send feedback, questions, or email me personally. But we're always open to that, and we're just looking forward to this opportunity to continue to collaborate and to continue to brainstorm anything that we can do to provide what's best for our students, and additional opportunities for our students is definitely of a priority. So I would just like to say thank you again to all of our panelists, to all of those who have participated online, submitting questions, completing the survey. I just thank you so much, and we definitely value your input and your collaboration, and I look forward to more of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Thomas. I, too, want to reiterate what Dr. Thomas mentioned and really, truly thank you for participating in our panel. I appreciate your openness and willingness to share your insights of Lawrence County. To those who are watching online tonight, thank you for joining us. The school board and the district administration will utilize this information gathered today to move the district forward. Your input, participation, and dedication to the betterment of Lawrence County and Lawrence School District 55 is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.